Be fun to say over the course of this match. 3-1 underway here in round number 5.
These are the type of decks that Mono Blue Devotion historically preys upon.
Yep.
Just a little too fast. These decks are typically soft in the air, decks like Naya mid-range, so flyers are very good. You pick up some splash damage from Typebinder Mage. There's a lot of things going on that make the matchup not great.
Temple planning to start here for Tyler. We'll take a look at the top card, decide where it wants to go. It does have a Voice of Resurgence in his hand, assuming that he can play it next turn, as Liles will draw a card. Gonna play an island, and now here is a Cloudfin Raptor. So Lytle will draw. See, there's also an Advent of the Worm in his hand as well.
So this is basically a token-based Naya deck with a lot of random raw power thrown in for good measure.
Is the Immortar, 3 copies of that. Selesnya Charm's versatility, 4 of those in here as well. Not a heavy red splash, but there is red in the deck.
Mostly for Perforos, which this deck essentially cannot enable Devotion for, but is simply too awesome alongside Elspeth, Xenagos, and other token generators to say no to.
Liles can play a Judge's Familiar. I think Tyler's going to have a response, and he will. What that response will be is an Advent of the Worm, so the Judge's Familiar can't counter it. So there is a 5/5 Trampling Worm token. Now the Judge's Familiar will resolve, and that means the evolution on Cloudfin Raptor will resolve, and no attack here from Khris Liles.
A little odd to see no attack there.
I was a little surprised at that as well. I mean, it's certainly not going to be blocking. I can promise you that much. So the no attack, no block, not my favorite turn from an aggressive deck.
Right. It's one of those things where even because the Worm has trample, it's not even like he can chump block and rapid hybridization his own blocker.
Voice Resurgence is going to come down, and now Tyler going to take one, it looks like, and deploy another Voice. So add a land to that with Temple Guard, and that's a pretty nice turn there from the Grand Prix San Antonio champion. Khris Liles will draw a card. He's been having some trouble finding some lands, but he's got a third one here. This 3 mana will allow him to cast a Nightveil Spectre, and that'll allow him to evolve his Cloudfin Raptor. But all those creatures that are in play are outclassed by the 5/5 Worm.
Yeah, pound for pound, Naya really brings the best creatures to the table.
An attack with just the Cloudfin Raptor, passing the turn back. Maybe that Judge's Familiar may be on chump blocking duty. We will see. Lytle will draw a card here for the turn. Let's see what Tyler has to do on this turn. He's going to start by playing a Temple of Plenty. Take a look at the top card. Going to decide where he wants that to go, and that's going to go on the bottom. You see there's an Elvish Mystic in his hand. Not sure the other card at this point.
He's a little low on action, and this is the kind of spot where, you know, if he doesn't have a powerful follow-up here, if he has nothing else left, something like Master of the Waves is still capable of stabilizing this game.
I do like the attack here of the Voice of Resurgence tokens. However, even though the Voice is Texas, it's okay in this matchup. It's more important actually to get that Elemental token that the Voice can provide you with. So if Nightveil Spectre does eat one of these, actually getting a 4/4 token is much better than just having the 2/2 body.
Yeah, and that might, for the reasons you just stated, cause Khris to say, all right, I'll just take all the damage.
Yeah. Liles is deciding what he wants to do, and it looks like he's just going to go on chump blocking. So Judge's Familiar is going to bite the dust. 7 damage is going to come across. Liles is going to go down to 8. And there's a follow-up of Elvish Mystic from Lytle. I'm just going to pass the turn back over to Khris, who will untap those 2 creatures. They're both 2/3 flyers at this point. But it's very important for a card like Master of Waves to show up now. Here comes Nightveil Spectre. So Tyler's going to go down. Trigger will give a forest. That forest is going to come into play very quickly.
And was that land number 4 that Khris needed for Master?
That's the question. And it looks like the answer was yes. It slows down a little bit. The answer is yes. So Devotion is 5. That means 5 2/1s are going to come into play.
This game swung around pretty quickly. And keep in mind, you know, Khris stumbled out of the gate, didn't have the most aggressive opening. Tyler was firing on all cylinders, and the game has turned around this fast.
Now, Advent of the Worm having trample is certainly important here, but this game is certainly changing quickly. And I still think if you're Tyler Lytle, you can attack with those Voice of Resurgences again. I think you almost are forced to now because you need the bigger bodies.
Yeah, he may just have to Alpha Strike again. But this is tough. I mean, he's in a ton of trouble now. And his deck can't really get Master Waves off the table game 1.
You can see he's a little uneasy about the situation, trying to figure out the best way to navigate through Master of Waves. This is part of the appeal of playing Mono Blue Devotion. We've seen it for the past year. Master of Waves is one heck of a Magic card, especially against these mid-range strategies. That's where it preys on people.
It's one of the biggest, polarizing aspects of the deck. There's some decks where Master Waves is basically nonsense because they have so many removal spells or Last Breaths or Detention Spheres. And there's some matchups where your opponent will really struggle to win once you have it. And this type of matchup is on the second end of the spectrum. It's tough to attack here, and it's tough not to attack, is the spot that Tyler is now in.
Well, he's coming into the red zone. I don't think he has much of a choice, so in they go. Both voices and a worm token. And we'll see what kind of blocks Liles will make. He'll put 3 creatures in front of that. And of course, the worm will be able to trample over for 2. He add in the 4 points of damage that looks like it's going to come across. That would be 6. But maybe he wants to block a little bit differently. We'll see. Cloudfin Raptor will get in the way here. That'll cause no trample damage to come through.
Now, what is interesting about this spot right now, I'm not sure if Khris is supposed to block the Voice of Resurgence. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But it does complicate matters if Tyler draws Perforos, because the voices kind of have to get blocked at that point, and then there's additional Perforos triggers.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're in a spot where you had to chump block anyway, it may be worth getting the chump blocking basically out of the way before Perforos becomes a factor.
Well, Khris took 4, so it looks like he goes down to 4 from that attack. So now Lyle's going to draw a card. Master of Waves doing a fantastic job of stabilizing, which again, that's what it does against these mid-range decks. Now the big question is, can Lyles turn the corner and actually get this game over with before Tyler draws ways to win it?
But now with Khris at 4, Perforos is sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
He can't take the voice hits, nor can he allow Voice of Resurgence to die. Though this domestication, of course, helps quite a bit in this respect.
Yeah. The powerful enchantment does take over that Voice of Resurgence. Here comes Nightveil Spectre. Top card is a Mana Confluence. Khris hasn't played land yet, so that's going to come into play. That land's good because it's a land, provides mana, but it's a little bit scary because it deals damage.
Although now every hit off of Tyler's deck is potentially pretty sweet.
That's true. See what Tyler was able to draw. Perforos is probably the best draw now.
Oh, for sure. Tyler can still steal this game, and I'm not sure if Perforos is even something on Chris's radar. It's an odd card. You don't see it a lot in these kind of Naya strategies, but it does potentially let Tyler steal this game if he can find it soon. Although it looks like Tyler is giving up on that plan now with this attack. This is a really interesting attack.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's the potential for a misblock here, of course. You know, a card like Celestial Charm comes into play. You know, this attack looks weird, right?
Oh, Khris has to block here somehow. He can't just say no blocks.
Yeah. The question is, how do you do it?
And Celestial Charm is a card that you have to respect here. And in fact, Tyler is playing 4 copies in his list. But it looks like there's nothing to do there.
Yep. There's an Advent. Ooh, hello. All right.
Has to main phase the Advent because of the voice that Khris now has control of.
The Elemental token coming into play. So that's a 5/5 trample and then a 4/4 Voice of Resurgence token. So Tyler just trying to work his way through all of this. It's not going to be easy, though. Well, 2 of them makes it a little bit different, though. Huh. 2 5/5 tramplers is a pretty big game.
This has been pretty back and forth affair thus far. It's looked at various points like Tyler got out too far in front. Now Khris is kind of stabilized and is pushing forward, and now Tyler still keeping himself in the game.
Well, I thought he was in the game.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah, I was with you. I thought he was going to come back with those 2 tramplers, making things difficult, but 2 copies of Tidebinder Mage have said otherwise. Now here comes Nightveil Spectre.
But there still is Mizium Mortars in Tyler's list here. So Tyler can still break out of this.
Yeah. It's good to have outs. It's good to have outs. Selesnya Charm, the card revealed. Need a Mizium Mortars here. He's been given enough time to find it. Let's see what this is. Don't have a great look at it.
Keep in mind, starting next turn, Khris can also cast the Selesnya Charm that he's found under the Nightveil Spectre because he has a Forest and a Mana Confluence.
Any good attacks we have? That Voice Resurgence token is a 5/5, but we're hanging back on defense.
Yeah, Tyler can't let the voice die because it's too big, especially now that Khris has a Selesnya Charm under the Nightveil Spectre to give it trample. So
Yeah.
Tyler rather has to kind of hang back for the time being until he finds a Mortars or maybe Perforos. What a weird game.
Yeah, this one's a little bit different. This one's a little bit different. He's going to take 1, going to go to 2. Selesnya Charm, get this thing out of here. Huh. All right, so that's gone. But it's not a lethal attack yet. 2 blockers. You block 2 of those 2-power guys. We're going to be able to get through 2.
Does he have another Master maybe?
Now that would do it. Even a card like Domestication. Now there's a Biden. And Worship, he could actually walk himself into like a little bit of a trap here if there's another Advent of the Worm hanging out there. Eats one of those Tidebinder Mages, lets him untap a different Advent of the Worm.
Well, he knows that Tyler doesn't have anything that matters in his hand right now because of the Voice of Resurgence. He would have almost certainly cast whatever.
Yes and no. Like I think that I don't think it's a guarantee that he would. Oh. There's the Mortars.
See Tyler shaking in his chair a little bit there. That would have been a huge swing if he had drawn that Mortars.
Can he draw one this turn? Taking a look at the life pad.
I think Khris knows now how much thin ice he was skating on.
Yeah, you can see him shake his head a little bit. Just has to play a stomping ground and pass the turn back. A little bit of frustration there from Lytle. If he was able to draw that Mortars, we're looking at a completely different game.
Because Tyler has been getting rocked for about the last 5 turns.
Yeah. Ever since Khris started drawing lands.
Yeah.
He's just been getting rocked by everything that Mono Blue Devotion can do. Those 2 Tidebinder Mages, Nightveil Spectre revealing cards. Domestication taking the Voice of Resurgence. It hasn't been pretty. There's 4 mana. What's this going to be? It's a Domestication again. I want that Elvish Mystic. Lytle will float a green mana because that's what you're supposed to do.
I think the bigger thing here is just clear out all these blockers and try to end this game now.
Yeah, I think you try to make this a lethal attack. Everything's going to come in. He's got 1 blocker. And you see he's going to do all the math to make sure that he's dead, and he is dead. So that's going to do it. Khris Lytle's going to win game number 1 here over Tyler Lytle. Mono Blue Devotion up a game over Naya mid-range. And it was close for a while there, but Mono Blue Devotion is really good against these mid-range strategies.
It is really tough, although none of the Mono Blue synergies are really what bothered Tyler that game. It wasn't, rapid hybridization on fizzling some expensive removal card. It wasn't really a curve of flyers necessarily. Just could not beat Master of Waves that game. Just generated too many blockers. Tidebinder Mage, a big influence as well.
Well, let's take a look at the sideboard here. Tyler Lytle's going to go to his, and you have it in front of you.
A Chandra Pyromaster, 2 Archangel of Thune, 3 Banishing Light, 4 Anger of Gods, 4 Mist Riders. Wow, he is not messing around with the Mono Blue Devotion matchup.
Yeah.
Arguably, all 15 of his cards are good here. Maybe Chandra's not that great. Chandra's maybe a little below average, but 2 Archangel of Thune, 3 Banishing Light, 4 Anger of God, 4 Mistcutter Hydra, an Indeicide.
That's a lot.
Well, he's going to bring in 14 cards, I guess, and probably cut. I would imagine Perforos gets cut. and probably the Populate engine as well, Tristani and Sign of Vitugazi. Maybe Tristani's still fine on its own. It seems pretty slow to me, but he is bringing a lot of heat for this matchup.
He wants to try to turn things around. We'll take a look at 3 Gainsays, 2 Domestication, 2 Jace, Architect of Thought, an Aetherling, 2 Pithing Needle, 2 Dissolve, 2 Dispel, and 1 Rapid Hybridization. I like Rapid. I'm okay with Domestication, but, you know, Khris isn't bringing in nearly the amount of cards that Tyler is.
It's hard to anticipate this level of hate. I've never seen anything like this for the Mono Blue Devotion matchup. Tyler must either expect Mono Blue to be very popular or to be a particularly bad matchup for his deck, because his entire sideboard, with the exception of Chandra, is not only live, but extremely powerful.
Well, we're going to see how these players do move cards in and out here. And then we'll join number 2 in just a moment. We're going to talk about our modern Premier IQs and Premier IQs in general, which are finally here. We started them in Baltimore. We saw Kent Ketter go XO, no games lost last weekend in Kansas City. And we'll see what happens with the one here in Dallas.
Yeah, new level of IQ support. These Premier IQs are 5Ks. They're open to all participants. Top 4 receive automatic guaranteed invites to the Invitational. Enhanced side events, side prizes as well. Open series points to all participants. We run these every Sunday starting at 10 a.m. They are modern format at the Opens. We had them in Baltimore. We had in Kansas City. We're going to have one tomorrow here in Dallas. If you want to run Premier level IQs yourselves as a store owner or tournament organizer, you can apply for in the same fashion that you apply for IQ events. Currently, we have a couple of IQs, Premier IQs outside of the Open Series, I believe, that have already occurred. We have more coming up in the next couple of weeks as well at a couple of choice locations, more coming towards the end of 2014, and I believe a whole slew of them in 2015. So this is another, you see the board here, Tampa, Tacoma, Washington, Knoxville, Denver, and Roseville, Minnesota. Those are already signed up. We got more on the way in 2014. So Premier level IQs that you want to run as a store owner or tournament organizer, those can be any sanctioned format, but at the Opens, every Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning, modern format.
I get the question all the time, is how is this going to affect our legacy coverage? Not at all.
Not at all. It's all occurring off camera. So legacy is still going to be the focus of Sunday.
Our legacy friends, we still love you. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. We'll still have Legacy Opens every single weekend here on the Open Series. We're just happy that we can finally bring you guys Modern, because we love Modern just like you do. We just had to figure out the best way to incorporate it, and we've done so.
It is a legitimate, fully formed third format. We want to bring it to the Open Series. We, of course, do not want to do anything that interferes with our standard or legacy Opens, either their coverage or the events themselves. So it took us a little while to figure it out, but they're here now. Every Sunday, we had 200 players in Baltimore, about 120 in Kansas City. If turnout today is any indicator, with 732 in the room for standard, I think we're going to have a large modern IQ tomorrow here as well.
Game number 2 here between Tyler Lytle and Khris Liles will be underway here in just a moment. Lytle got off to a really nice start, but wasn't able to capitalize and finish it off. Liles was able to stabilize with some blue creatures, Master of Waves being the most significant, and able to turn the corner and get the job done. So we'll see if it'll be a repeat performance, of that, or Tyler Lytle can close things out, because as you mentioned, he's got a lot of hate cards in this matchup.
The sideboard almost reads like a typo. Like, there's no way that someone has this level of hate to bring in for the Devotion matchup, but it's all here. In fairness, a lot of these cards do double duty. You know, Anger of the Gods, you can bring that card in against all sorts of beatdown decks. Mistcutter Hydra is good against Esper, blue-white, but there's a lot of action in this sideboard to help the Blue Devotion matchup.
Well, both players are going to lay out their 7 cards. We'll take a look, see what they can find. Again, Tyler Lytle playing this Naya mid-range deck, one that Brad Nelson, Brian Braun-Duin, and a few others played at Grand Prix Chicago. Didn't have the success that they were looking for, but they said the deck was pretty good, but it did have a very tough Mono Blue Devotion matchup. Well, that's exactly what Tyler Lytle is up against right now, and Mono Blue Devotion does a nice job of preying against strategies like this.
There's a lot of decks, hypothetical decks and realized decks, that say the same thing. You know, my deck is really, really good, but the Mono Blue Devotion matchup just isn't.
You see Lytle's going to send it back, and it looks like Khris Liles is happy with his 7 cards. So the Grand Prix San Antonio champion will have to look at the next 6.
Green-white strategies, Naya, mono-red aggro, a bunch of decks that have been pretty mono-green aggro.
Yep.
We had an open top 8 earlier this year.
Yeah, Milwaukee, Mason Lang.
Mono Blue Devotion, in my mind, not good against black, not really good against Revelation strategies, but it is really good against nearly everything else.
Yeah.
if you expect a room with 7 or 8 decks, I think Blue Devotion's the best deck to play in Standard.
And players have proven that when we've gone over to the Northeast. Reed Duke, Ross Merriam, those guys have cleaned up.
Right
Quite
now
a
is a
bit.
really good time. There's a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of red aggro. Back towards the end of when Theros was the most recent set, towards the end of that, I thought Blue Devotion was not a good choice because the metagame had basically come down to Esper, black, and blue.
Yeah.
Not good in that field, but now, today, pretty solid choice.
All right, Lytle's happy with his 6, or at least happy enough. And they're going to fire things off. It's a Temple of Plenty. So top card will go to the bottom there for Tyler. We'll pass the turn back over to Khris. Khris will draw a card. You see there's an island already in the hand. See if he has a 1-drop. He does. It's a Judge's Familiar. So Lytle will draw. It's a Temple Garden. Untapped, down 18, and there is Sylvan Carry added.
Feels like the most important card for decks like this.
Especially on this mulligan.
Accelerating and mana fixing. The deck needs a lot of both, and Carrier is really the only card that fulfills double duty.
Island there for Liles. He'll attack for 1. Tyler Lytle going to go down to 17. Let's see if Khris has a 2-drop here. Looks like the answer is no. So Lytle will draw. See, there's a Mana Confluence in his hand. Has an Advent Worm, but that one's not very good in the face of Judge's Familiar. So he'll just cast a Perforos instead. Take 1 to do so. That'll get the thumbs up. So the God of the Forge has shown up to the party, and this is where this deck can really go into overdrive.
Given the level of hate that Tyler has in his sideboard, I'm surprised to see Perforos still in his deck. I imagine it's one of the weaker cards in his deck against Blue Devotion. Though maybe he just needs to turn into a pure racer. Maybe he's happy just trying to win the race before Khris is able to get Master Waves online and do all of this stuff.
Thassa, God of the Sea. So each player, has a god in play. We don't see that very often. Tyler will draw a card after taking 1 from that Judge's Familiar. Let's see if he can really get going here. Well, there's Deicide, so that's a pretty good start.
That's a really good start.
We're going to take a look at Chris's hand here. There's another Thassa in the grip, so that's going to go away. Also, a Tidebinder Mage, a Nightveil Spectre. Actually, make that 2 Tidebinder Mages and a Frostmourne Weird. So it looked like he had something to do on turn 2 and chose not to do it.
Well, the thing he could have done was Tidebinder Mage potentially. He could have drawn Frostmourne Weird this turn and cast Thassa instead. Which makes a lot of sense. But that's the 1 Deicide in the sideboard. That's exactly the number you want to draw in exactly this spot.
So bye-bye Thassas. There's a Temple Garden.
So now Tyler can really start to leverage his more powerful sideboard cards. Anger of the Gods and Mistcutter Hydra now bananas draws at this point.
See what this is going to be. I'm going to start by attacking for 1 with Khris. That's an easy place to begin things. And now he's going to play a Frostmourne, so it's time to start deploying some of those 2-drops. Tyler will draw. This looks like a Temple. It's just going to be a Stomping Ground tapped. See the hand. I believe the hand is just Selesnya Charm and Advent of the Worm. Khris draws an island. Not bad. We'll deploy that. Now it's time to attack, I believe. And it is. I wonder if our good friend Advent is going to try to jump in here. It looks like it will. So, a 5/5 from out of nowhere is going to come in. There will be a Perforos trigger, so 2 damage is going to go over Liles. He's going to go down to 18. And Advent looks like it will go blocking in just a moment.
Seems like a safe block here.
Yeah.
Nothing in Chris's hand last turn indicated there would be a problem.
Oh, what is this? Oh!
Oh!
A Cyclonic Rift. That's a beating. And now 2 pumps. So 4 points of damage going to come across. Timely Rift there. And you have to imagine Rift is great against this deck anyway. So that's
it builds up quite the board.
Yeah, it's not too surprising to see. Is this a Scion? Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So that's going to come into play. Now this is actually a card, and I know I'm known for my love for Cloud Goat Ranger. It's not quite there, but I'm surprised this one hasn't seen more play.
It's just pretty expensive, and there's a lot of moving parts, but It's certainly good in this board, that's for sure.
It'll come down. If you cast it from your hand, put a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying onto the battlefield, and then you get to populate. So you get 2 1/1 flyers, and that thing's a 4/4 by itself. So I was a big fan of this card when I found out about it.
And Perforos triggers 3 times.
Of course, yeah. I thought more would happen. Now here's the big test. Do we have 1/1 birds?
So what are the cards that would generate 1/1 birds that are common enough that we would have them ready to go?
Very good question. I can't think of any.
And if we don't have birds ready to go, another important question is who gets fired? Someone gets fired, right?
Hey, we did okay with the Penguins.
All right, that's fine.
Those
That's
guys
fine.
have jetpacks. You know what? We did okay. They get to keep their job.
Kind of. I mean, the defining characteristic of a penguin is a bird that can't fly, so it's not ideal.
But it's a jetpack.
Sure.
You're forgetting about the jetpack. That's a flying penguin. We're going to let it slide, maybe.
Yeah.
I think what it is, it's a stern talking to.
It's probably a write-up. It's a written report.
Yeah. That sounds right to me. There's a Nightveil Spectre. Because we don't want to let him off easy.
No. Oh, no.
You have made an error. But Scion is pretty big on this board. There's a Mutavault. Tyler going to untap here, take a draw. Again, he has Leslie Charm in his hand. Looks like he picked up a copy of Stomping Ground.
I really like when board states get like this, where, you know, someone's kind of trying to nickel and dime with some cheap cards, and then Tyler casts Scion, and it's you know, this 4/4 is better than your 1/4, and I generate basically 2 tokens for free, half of which trades for the other card that you had in play. That was your whole engine. Just completely invalidates the entire board. Now the concern is, Cyclonic Rift is still very dangerous. And with that Nykthos in play, Khris can get an overloaded Cyclonic Rift mana-wise without really any trouble.
It's time to attack with a 4/4. Let's get some birds in there too, shall we?
Perforos makes this a pretty safe attack.
Yeah, that's what I actually like about this attack. Perforos makes this attack seem safe. Also, he's just doing a fantastic job of masking his Celestia Charm. Because it's like, oh, well, you have 2 Perforos activations. So if I block my Nightveil Spectre and a Judge Familiar, well, then, you know, you have to activate your Perforos twice, and I get to trade with that stuff, and you get to deal some damage. But that's not actually what's happening here.
And just any shots that come through here increase the closing speed that Perforos provides. Tyler has him in range. And Tyler also needs to err on the side of speed here because he has to be worried about Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah. So here are our blocks. Looks like Mutavault's on chump blocking duty. And then Judge's Familiar is going to get in front of a bird. Now the question, of course, now is, do I actually use my Celestia Charm or not? I don't think you do.
I don't think so. I think you're, if nothing else, you're better served just pumping with Perforos and then making a token at the end of the turn.
Yeah. No pump at all, though. A little surprising there. Just going to play a Stomping Ground. Pass the turn back. Looks like he may have missed the opportunity to get a point of damage through. Maybe.
Yeah, it seems like a safe spot to pump once.
See what Liles does on his turn. Again, we know he's got 2 drops in his hand. He's been holding 2 Tidebinder Mages for a very long time. Very long time.
Just never got the spot.
Yeah, I mean, he could, of course, just deploy them because there'll be 2/2 Grizzly Bears, but he wants to make sure he gets the most value he can out of that card. He's going to start by attacking with Nightveil Spectre. So damage is going to come across. There will be a trigger. Let's see what he finds. It's a copy of the Scion.
Pretty far away from being able to cast that.
That one is true. That one is true. Nykthos can get a little bit creative. Like Nykthos, for example, can generate red mana right now because there's a Frostbird weird in play, but can't produce white mana just yet.
Need some more Judges Familiars.
Yeah. Here's some mana, Tidebinder. You see there's going to be 5 blues. Now there's 3 blue left floating. Let's see what else happens here. Maybe it's time to play the other Tidebinder Mage. Again, Khris has been holding them for some time. Yeah, he's trying to get as most value as he could, but Lytle never actually drew a green card to actually make it worth it. So Tidebinder Mages are just going to get deployed finally. Of course, that will provide a lot of devotion for Nykthos on the next couple of turns, but for right now, nothing doing. Lytle draws his card for the turn. Again, we have seen this situation before where he's had the ability to make some really nice draws. Museum Mortars, Anger of the Gods is pretty good right now.
Mistcutter Hydro would not be shabby.
Yeah, he's got the opportunity to draw some really, really nice cards, but he just hasn't found them yet. What he will do is he's going to attack with that 1/1 flyer.
Archangel Thune?
I forgot.
There's
I forgot
a couple
that was
of those in there too. He's got a lot of big draws.
So 1 damage is going to come across here. And that, ooh. 3 triggers. That is pretty good. Going to get the populate again. Another bird token is going to come into play. 6 damage is going to be dealt via Perforos. And this is when this deck looks pretty good.
And Perforos has done a lot of heavy lifting. Combat's been rough. Khris is really well equipped to sort of chump block and race in the air even when he's behind, but Perforos has done a ton of damage.
We will have one more bird out there for you guys in just a moment, but both players are aware. And we'll have to, Derek Sheets is making an appearance now.
Close enough.
Now someone will get fired.
Someone is fired.
Yeah. I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Yeah. Do not bother coming in on Monday.
Yeah.
Looks like there's some Perforos triggers there that also need to get updated.
Yeah, down to 4. Yep. All that, man. Is it Rift? No, it's not Rift. All right, it's Tidebinder Mage. That's fine. No targets. And now it's Master of Waves. Hello. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's a lot. But I believe Selesnya Charm plus the Flyers will still be enough to squeeze this one out. Perforos activations. I think Tyler's going to be able to get game 2.
That's a lot of elemental tokens, I'll tell you what. But I'm with you. I think the Flyers will be enough to get done, especially when Khris has no cards in his hand. Tyler's going to quickly untap her. I think he senses it as well. Just thinking, I can just reach for my flying tokens. You've got 1 blocker. Yep, and he sets the 1, closer to the Nightfell Spectre that can be blocked. And says, yeah, I've got you dead on board. Perforos activation. Let's make it 4 points of damage. Yep. That's going to do it. So Tyler Lytle's going to even it up here against Khris Liles. Naya mid-range and Mono Blue Devotion headed to a 3rd game. Alrighty then.
And Tyler really didn't even draw any of his really hateful sideboard cards. He drew the 1 Deicide. That was important. Killed Thassa, but no Mistcutter Hydras, no Anger of the Gods, no Banishing Lights, no Archangels. Still got it done. Pretty impressive stuff.
Well, let's see these players go back to the drawing board here. This is, again, something I really like to do, see if they're going to change anything because, things are different when you're on the play or on the draw. I don't know if Tyler's going to change anything because his configuration is pretty hateful towards Mono Blue after sideboard. So he's definitely giving it a long look. Very skilled player here on our right. Grand Prix San Antonio champion a couple years ago. He's kind of moving some things around. You see Khris is actually giving it a long look as well. It looks like he's going to move some things. It looks like Tyler will as well. So both these players going to reconsider their options heavily before heading into this 3rd game with about 15 minutes left to go.
So I'm not sure if you saw the 2015 Grand Prix schedule has been announced.
I have not seen that yet.
And in August of next year, there's a Grand Prix at Standard, and it's in San Diego.
I'm there.
So we're going to hang out.
Me and you.
We're going to hang out.
I didn't say I was going to play in the Grand Prix, but I'm there.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Got a deal.
How about, it's in August?
Yeah.
Padres game, ever heard of it?
Oh, for sure. The Friars?
Absolutely. The Fathers, as I call them. They're almost a lock to score a run.
Yep.
I'm only going to a game if you can guarantee they'll score 1 run.
I can't promise that.
I demand that guarantee, or I'm not going. I need to see someone from the home team cross home plate.
I cannot guarantee that.
It's great baseball team you got there. Really good.
We basically have a quadruple A batting lineup, more or less,
but good pitching.
Anyhow, we're hanging out next year, Standard Grand Prix.
I'm looking forward to it. You know what else I'm looking forward to? Autumn State Championships.
Oh, yeah.
That's a transition.
Super fun.
That's what we call that. We call that a transition in the business. Autumn State Championships happening October 11th and 12th.
Yeah, this is the weekend after Grand Prix Orlando, but they're held all over the country. And States is an awesome tournament. it'll be a relatively new standard format. Cons of Tarkir will not have been legal for that long. And there's open series points. There's a prestigious title involved. And our spring stage was a huge success. And we expect the same thing to happen this fall.
You win this thing, you get that playmat in black and white. Also, you get a medal. A medal!
A medal.
To wear around your neck. It's pretty heavy from what I've been told from Khris Van Meter, who is a current state champion. He won West Virginia earlier this year, which was actually pretty important for him. Those open series points he got from that helped him win season 2. And of course, we don't want to forget 52 locations around the U.S. and Puerto Rico. So these are not hard to find. Some states actually have 2. California, for example, very large. So there's northern states and lower states as well. So again, check it out. October 11th at 12, StarCityGames.com/states, the weekend after Grand Prix Orlando. Pro Tour Cons weekend is actually when that'll be taking place. It'll be the week after GP Orlando, and the new set will be available. So it'll be a real shakeup there.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be basically a new environment, so that'll be really fun.
Check it out. October 11th and 12th, Autumn State Championships here with Star City Games. As we do turn our attention back to game number 3. Shuffling is just about over, and we'll see if either player can keep their opening hands. Again, I do actually think that this matchup favors Khris quite a bit.
Yeah, though I think the sideboard games may possibly be in Tyler's favor because he's bringing so many powerful sideboard cards to the table.
Patrick, did you know, I've been told by Cody_Trafton, thank you, Cody, that there is a Legacy Grand Prix in Seattle in November.
I did not know that.
So I will see.
We'll be hanging out.
Yeah, we'll be hanging out. And again, don't know if we're going to play, but we'll be hanging out.
We'll be hanging out.
We can both have mountains on our deck or try to win.
I will do just fine. Don't worry about me.
Oh, Burn Boy.
I'll be just fine.
Tyler's going to take himself a mulligan here. Khris is happy to keep.
Because, you know, Wizards kind of helping me out. When they print new cards for Legacy now, it's like Abrupt Decays and Deathrite Shamans, and it's like creatures that fit into aggro, tempo, force of will, plus some creature strategies.
Okay.
And those are really good matchups for Burn.
And plus you got Eidolon.
Get Eidolon.
Look at you. You
Yeah.
got a brand new one. That card is legit.
It is legitimate.
That card is an absolute delight.
Don't worry about me. I'll be just fine.
All right, I just need, 18 goblins. We'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Just need, I don't know if they're Apple Masters yet, but I'm willing to give it a try. Can they just print a Goblin Lackey that's unblockable, or is that too good?
Probably the mixture of when this deals damage to a player trigger and can't be blocked is sort of a lame design.
How about blocked by one? It has to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. Bang, 2-headed Goblin.
That's a better design, but still not great.
So you're not going to put me in R&D yet.
You just have some things to learn. It takes a while.
I'll figure
No one
it out.
comes in ready to go day one.
I'll figure it
No
out.
one does.
Tyler's happy with the 6. We're underway in game number 3. No 1-drop there for Khris. And Tyler does have a temple to start off with. It's a Temple of Triumph. Going to take a look at the top card here.
Not a lot of temples in this list, only 5, which is on the low side for a 3-color deck, but
Yeah.
Tyler needs to cast stuff on time.
It's an island, and this is a Frostburn Weird. I think the really important thing here for Tyler is he does play a Stomp Ground untapped is, boy, does he need a Sylvan Carry added. If he has one of those, we're looking at a different game. And he's going to go with Missing Mortars to get that thing out of here, keep the devotion count low.
That's not bad either. Keep the board pinned a little bit.
Lyles with 3 lands. This is a Nightveil Spectre, so Lytle's going to draw a card. There's a Voice of Resurgence there. Looks like he's ready to take some damage very quickly. It's an Anger of the Gods. Just trading 1 for 1 a bunch.
Which is not bad, especially if he has no answer to Master of Waves. He can't allow anything to slip through the cracks. So even though maybe you can get more out of an Anger of Gods, you got to make sure that Master of Waves doesn't just beat you on its own.
There's a Needle, too. We'll see what the Needle's naming in just a moment. It's Nightveil Spectre. Did come before it. Wonder what you name with Needle against this deck. Perforos is something to name. We haven't seen any Planeswalkers yet. And he does go with Perforos. That's actually kind of good for Tyler because he hasn't revealed Elspeth, which he has 2 copies of, and 3 copies of Xenagos. Now, I'm not sure if those are still in the deck, but...
Also, the activated power of Perforos doesn't matter that much against a player with no creatures.
Yeah. Here comes the Spectre. What's that? Selesnya Charm is what it is. 2 mana. There's Frosty. And here's Advent. Got to take 2 to cast it.
Yeah,
These Manic Influence is going to be tough.
I'm going to say the same thing. There's 2 copies in Tyler's list. He's drawn both of them. And these games feel like a pure race, and they are a really big cost to pay.
In for 5. Let's see if this is good to go. This looks like maybe a rapid. Yep. So there goes the worm token. It'll be downgraded into a frog lizard. 3-3 coming in just a moment. He's going to have to take 2 more, go down to 11 to play a Voice of Resurgence times 2. And now a Temple of Plenty. This scry, of course, is important because Nightfall Spectre is going to get to take whatever that is, and he's going to leave it on top. So we'll see what Tyler did leave on top for Khris to have, as Liles will, untap and take a draw here.
There's not really that much, there's no overlapping costs. It's a Naya deck versus blue, so nearly any spell is safe from this spot.
And he left him with the Mortars. A card, again, that I think Tyler would have liked to have. I mean, obviously he has to, he probably has to leave it on top. Probably. I mean, all it takes is 1 red mana to be able to cast that. And there's a Master. And that's going to be for 3, 4, 5, 6.
And these mana confluences, I think, have doomed Tyler. How many points of damage does this add up to? Plus a Stomping Ground got played untapped on turn 2.
That's 6 all by itself right there. There's 2 mana. There's a Sylvan Carry added. That one's late to the party. And Tyler Lytle might just have to look on with his fingers and his arms crossed, knowing he can't really do very much about this. Again, we have said many times, Mono Blue Devotion may not be great against black. It may not be great against the Revelation decks, but it's very good. It's very good against everything else.
Yeah. And it's not like Tyler doesn't have, Tyler's curve this game was Mortars, Anger of Gods, Advent. It's not like he failed to bring a draw to the table.
He did relevant stuff every step of the way. You see an attack here with everybody. So Lytle's going to need something not to die this turn.
It's mostly an issue with the lands. If Tyler's at 15 right now instead of 9, this game's very different.
Well, this is interesting. Okay, well, 10's going to come across. So if he has something, he lives, but he doesn't, so he doesn't. Khris Liles is going to win this match over Tyler Lytle, 2-1. And Mono Blue Devotion is going to move on to 4-1, taking down another mid-range deck, something it's been doing ever since really it became a deck.